Welcome to the ForgingPGH Comprehensive Plan online workshop. Pittsburgh needs your help. Thanks in advance for your participation. The following video will provide you with all the background information you need to share your vision for Pittsburgh's future. A comprehensive plan is a roadmap for the entire city. It outlines a community's vision for the future and guides investment in our neighborhoods. Pittsburgh has never had a citywide plan like this before, so why does it need one now? Pittsburgh has a rich history of community-driven planning. The comprehensive plan will both draw from these past plans and set a standard for a coordinated approach to planning in Pittsburgh going forward. Pittsburgh is emerging from decades of decline. As the steel industry shrank, so did our population. But that trend has slowed in recent years. For the first time in a generation, we are faced with the question, how do we manage growth? Despite Pittsburgh's turnaround, climate change, the fight against racial inequality, and the COVID-19 pandemic mean the future is still uncertain. As we decide how to move forward, we need to understand how the choices that were made over the past century shape the Pittsburgh we see today. Many of our choices impacted communities of color. Redlining, the exclusion of non-white families from certain neighborhoods through racist lending practices, laid the groundwork for segregation that is still evident today. These same policies have impacted housing issues in Pittsburgh. As this chart shows, 50% of renters who are black spend more than 30% of their income on housing, compared to only 41% of renters who are white. Pittsburgh's industrial legacy defined its identity, but it continues to impact our air and water quality. Despite significant improvements in recent years, Pittsburgh still ranks among the most polluted cities in the country. As our manufacturing sector shrank, our education, technology, and medical sectors grew, but not everyone benefited equally. While white-collar jobs have boomed, a generation of industrial workers are struggling to find a role in Pittsburgh's economic rebirth. We've just seen a few of the trends that have made Pittsburgh what it is today. So what if we don't address these issues and just let the future happen? While we don't know exactly how much Pittsburgh could grow, we think it could be between 15 and 40,000 people between now and 2040. Obviously, we can't control how many people move to Pittsburgh in the future, but we can manage how that growth happens. Using a tool called scenario planning, we projected recent trends into the future to see what Pittsburgh could be like if past policies continue. We call this the trend scenario. In the trend scenario, an additional 15,000 to 27,000 new housing units are needed to accommodate new arrivals to Pittsburgh. However, while some neighborhoods boom, other neighborhoods continue to lose population, resulting in a loss of 5,000 to 6,000 existing housing units through demolition or redevelopment. Many of these new households will choose to drive rather than use transit, resulting in 5 to 15% more driving on Pittsburgh's roads and bridges. In the trend scenario, continued growth in the technology, medical, and education industries could bring 25,000 to 50,000 new jobs to Pittsburgh. But it could come at the cost of 2,000 to 4,000 existing industrial and manufacturing jobs, leaving still more industrial workers behind. If we feel strongly about addressing these issues, and we do, then we need a plan of action. The plan will be guided by the City of Pittsburgh's P4 framework: people, planet, place, and performance. ForgingPGH will also have a strong equity lens. We created a Displacement Vulnerability Index, or DVI, that highlights neighborhoods where residents are most at risk of being displaced by new development. This tool will help plan for the well-being of all Pittsburghers and ensure that no one gets left behind. So how can you weigh in? First, fill out the brief survey below. It will help us better understand what you want Pittsburgh to be like in the future. Then, use the mapping exercise to tell us where you want future growth to happen. The mapping exercise looks like this. Areas in yellow on the map show where residents are most vulnerable to displacement. This data comes from the Displacement Vulnerability Index, or DVI. You can drop a pin on the map and choose what kind of growth it represents. You can choose from low-density neighborhoods. Low-density neighborhoods are pockets of homes on relatively large lots. Examples include Banksville and Lincoln-Leamington-Belmar. Traditional Pittsburgh neighborhood. Traditional Pittsburgh neighborhoods are a mix of single-family homes, row houses, and apartments, often within walking distance to smaller stores along a main street. Examples include East Allegheny and Shadyside. Employment Center. Employment centers are a mix of offices and retail, often surrounded by compact neighborhoods. Examples include Allegheny Center and the Bakery Square development in East Liberty. Regional Center. Regional centers are a mix of multi-story residential and office buildings with ground floor retail along a main street. Examples include downtown and the Oakland neighborhood. Manufacturing. Manufacturing areas are intended for uses that need to be separated from commercial and residential areas due to relatively high levels of noise, vibration, or freight traffic. Open space. Open space can include expansion of existing parks or conversion of former developed areas and vacant parcels into new park space. You can also give us feedback about where new public investments like sidewalks, bike lanes, road improvements, or transit would be beneficial before additional development occurs. You can also tell us where you think new affordable housing options are needed. These can include single-family homes, row houses, or apartments. Now it's time to make your voice heard. Your input will help us create scenarios for Pittsburgh's future. Each scenario represents a different way Pittsburgh might grow. We will measure how each scenario performs across several indicators such as greenhouse gas emissions, tax revenue, and housing cost. Then we'll come back to you in a few months with some ideas and ask you to pick the future you like best. The future you choose will become the foundation for the ForgingPGH Citywide Comprehensive Plan. For more information about the ForgingPGH Citywide Comprehensive Plan, visit www.forgingpgh.org, where you can learn more about how Pittsburgh's past may influence its future. Thanks again for taking the time to weigh in. Your opinion is extremely important.